Well, we are ready with your email question, so we're going to jump right in with Diane, who says, my 15-year-old son has given me a bit of a stumper. He says that if God created the devil and God is all-knowing, then God must have intended to create evil, even though God himself is holy. Therefore, the assumption is that evil is supposed to exist by God's design. Ooh, please help me unravel this thinking, because I can't answer this one.
Tell the boy that God wants freedom. In order for a person to be a person, he has to be able to make moral choices. Satan, Lucifer, the light one, was the highest of God's creations. And of course, he had the ability to make choices. That didn't mean God created his choices, but God allowed him freedom. And he took the freedom to try to rebel against God. Pride. So it's, you know, there it is. But he was entranced by his own beauty. He just looked at himself and said, I'm so pretty, I'm so smart, I'm smarter than God. Well, did God make that evil? No. Don't get hung up on some of this theological stuff. Just freedom. Freedom, that's the idea. Okay.
There you go. Tyler writes in and says, why should we study the Old Testament? Are we instructed to follow the laws of the New Testament?
Jesus said, not one jot or tittle of the law shall pass away till all is fulfilled. And there are moral concepts embedded in the law of God. Honor your mother and father. That's it, timeless. Do not steal. Don't kill. Don't commit adultery. These are laws that pertain to civilization everywhere. So that's it. They're timeless. All that stuff that went on about killing Philistines and say, obviously we don't do that because they're not any, well, they're different style of Philistines. we don't go out and try to slaughter them. That was a different age, different dispensation. But the timeless law of God remains forever. All right.
One from Janet, who says, how do people know about God before the Bible?
If you read the Apostle Paul in Romans, he said that what is created shows God, and he can be known by the things that he made. And so you can go out and look at the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe. There was a man who was an idol maker. He made idols. And he began to say, I'm worshiping these idols, but what made the idol? My hand. And what made my hand? I want to worship the thing, the being that made my hand. Now that's the kind of thing that we all have awareness. God has put in the heart of every human being, that knowledge. Okay?
All right. Susan says, who divided the Bible into chapters and verses, and why and when was this done?
Well, there was a council in Nicaea. There have been several church councils that determined what was in the so-called canon. They accepted what the Hebrew scholars had determined were the books of the Old Testament. And there was something that came out of Alexandria, Egypt, where it was put into Greek. And this was the canon that the Jewish leaders over the centuries had determined that they felt this was from the Lord. The New Testament has to do with were they inspired by the apostles, and that was a church council, the Council of Nicaea, and other councils that have determined what they were. The church got together and prayed, and that was their decision.